Okay, so picture this. You're the creator of the universe, right? You've got like cosmic power just at your fingertips. You're worshipped by, I don't know, countless beings. But you're desperately searching for your dad. Kind of wild, right? Well, that's the story we're going to unpack today as we dive into Hindu creation myths and the tale of Brahma.
Yeah, it's a story that really takes us on a ride, I think. We're talking cosmic power. We're talking tricky bargains.
Yeah.
And really the very nature of truth. And underpinning it all is this question that's, I think, relevant even to us thousands of years later, which is, what does it really mean to search for truth and meaning in our lives?
And the lengths this guy goes to for some kind of divine validation is, wow, let's just say he makes some choices that'll have you scratching your head.
Brahma's story, I think, is a really powerful reminder that even with unimaginable power, sometimes we end up searching in all the wrong places.
Yeah, it all starts with Brahma, the creator god in Hinduism, who's consumed by this burning desire to find his father Niranjan. And this isn't just a casual, where'd dad wander off to kind of search. We're talking across eons.
Yeah, you're right. This is not your average, father-son reunion. Brahma's quest is all about achieving darshan, which is this really powerful experience in Hinduism of directly encountering the divine. He's convinced that seeing his father, this ultimate divine being, is the key to everything.
And this is where it gets really wild. He actually makes a deal with his sister Gayatri to lie about finding their dad, and the price he has to sleep with her. It's a lot to unpack. And what's fascinating is that our source, the mystic poet Kabir, calls this act both selfish and a virtuous act.
Kabir's words, I think, really highlight the moral complexity that's woven into a lot of these myths. On one hand, you have Brahma, who is manipulating those around him and distorting the truth out of this, desperation for darshan. But on the other hand, you also sense this underlying yearning for connection, for a deeper understanding of his own existence. It's this really tangled knot of motivations that I think makes you really stop and think.
Yeah, it's like Kabir is saying, this is kind of messed up, but also, what do you make of it? Like, it's really interesting that he says both those things. But before we get too deep into that, let's rewind a little bit. We've got Brahma searching for his father for what feels like forever. And we're talking about yugas here, these vast cosmic cycles of time to give you a sense of scale. Imagine searching for something, anything, not just for years, but for millions of years.
It really highlights how vast this concept of time is within Hinduism. And he's not just casually looking around. He's meditating in the vast emptiness of space itself, trying to find his father. Yet even with all of that power and all of that time, he's coming up empty.
It makes you wonder if the creator of the universe is struggling to find what he's looking for. What does that mean for the rest of us? Are we all destined to wander around in our own ways, searching for something that might be right in front of us?
That's a question worth pondering. And it's something that we'll kind of keep circling back to, I think, as we go deeper into this story. But getting back to Brahma, even his mother, Adhya, is starting to get a little worried.
Yeah, I mean, rightfully so. My son, the god of creation, is off on a cosmic wild goose chase, and she decides to take matters into her own hands. And she creates Gayatri, infusing her with this essence of Shakti to bring Brahma home.
And this is where we encounter one of the most fundamental concepts in Hinduism, which is Shakti, this primordial cosmic energy, often personified as feminine, that drives creation, action, and change. Think of it as the dynamic force that makes everything happen.
So Gayatri isn't just your average messenger girl.
Right.
She's got this potent energy coursing through her, ready to set Brahma straight. And there's this small but significant detail in the myth that Gayatri bows at her mother's feet before setting out.
And that small act, I think, speaks volumes about the reverence that's shown to elders, and specifically to the divine feminine in these stories. Adhya, as this mother figure, seems to possess this really intuitive wisdom. She senses that Brahma's quest is misguided somehow, that there's a greater truth that he's missing.
Okay, so we've got Brahma off on his quest. Gayatri's been sent to wrangle him in. Where does this whole 8,400,000 species thing fit into all of this?
That's where things get even more interesting. Remember we were talking about how Brahma's quest kind of reflects her own human tendencies to search for truth in all the wrong places. This idea of 8,400,000 species really underscores that.
Okay, so 8,400,000 species, that's a lot of life forms. What's the connection to Brahma's? A little existential crisis here.
It's all about the journey of the soul. C. Kabir, our main man for understanding this myth, suggests that souls go through this incredible cycle of reincarnation, inhabiting all sorts of forms, from insects to animals to, actually,
No.
Humans.
So it's like climbing this ladder with like 8,400,000 rungs, and humans are like way up at the top.
Precisely. And the idea is that with each life, with each step up that ladder, the soul gains experience. It evolves, and it gets closer and closer to this true understanding of the divine.
But Brahma is this powerful deity who's supposed to be at the pinnacle of creation, and he's freaking out about finding his dad. It's like he missed the memo that the most important journey is the one inward.
Exactly. And that's where his quest kind of goes off the rails. He's so fixated on this external validation from his father that he's neglecting the internal work, this self-discovery that is essential to true spiritual growth.
So he's skipping steps on the cosmic ladder, trying to take a shortcut to enlightenment.
She's trying to get there without doing the work.
Let's get back to Gayatri. She finds Brahma right. What's the scene there?
She does. Picture this. Brahma is deep in meditation, eyes closed, completely immersed in this cosmic search for his father. He's so deep in thought that Gayatri actually has to touch his feet to snap him out of it.
I don't care if you're the creator of the universe. That's got to be annoying.
Yeah, you would think. And Brahma's reaction, let's just say he doesn't offer her a cup of cosmic tea and ask about her day.
Right.
He's furious.
Is this just Brahma being a cosmic diva, or is there something deeper going on here?
It's easy to see it as just anger, but it also kind of speaks to the intensity of Brahma's desire for darshan, for that connection with the divine. He's so close he can practically taste it, and then bam, Gayatri yanks him back to reality.
I can see how that would lead to some frustration, to put it mildly, but it's still wild that he then turns around and makes this deal with her. Like, he'll only go back home if she lies about him, finding their father. Talk about desperate measures.
And remember, he doesn't just ask her to tell their mother. Brahma is so desperate to validate this lie, to convince himself as much as anyone else, that he insists on multiple witnesses.
Right. He's got Gayatri creating Pupavati, who's also sometimes called Savitri, to back up the story. It's like he's thinking, the more witnesses, the more believable it'll be.
Exactly. And that need for external validation, for someone else to confirm our own experiences, is something that I think all of us grapple with to some extent.
For sure.
But in Brahma's case, it really highlights this fundamental misplacement of focus.
Yeah, he's looking for truth in a hall of mirrors instead of looking within himself. But there's this other detail in the text that always kind of gets me, which is this emphasis on meditating with children.
Interesting you should mention that. It seems like this small detail, almost out of place amidst all of this cosmic drama. But it really speaks volumes.
It's like a quiet whisper of wisdom amidst all the noise.
Exactly. Because while Brahma is off on this grand, misguided quest, this simple act of meditating with children points to this more grounded, accessible path to spiritual connection.
Right. It's about being present, being open to the divine in the everyday, rather than chasing after some distant, elusive goal.
Precisely. And it reminds us that sometimes the greatest truths are revealed in the simplest of acts. But of course, Brahma misses this entirely. He's too caught up in his own drama.
Speaking of missing the point, let's talk about the Farids. They kind of pop up in the text, and it feels like a total left turn.
Not at all. The Farids, I think, are key to understanding Brahma's fatal flaw, you see. The text tells us that. True seekers, like the Farids, don't seek external blessings or validation. Their only desire is sat name.
Now, I know we touched on this earlier, but for those of us who haven't quite mastered ancient Sanskrit, remind us what sat name means again.
Sat name, it's a mantra, a sacred sound. That essentially means true identity. It's about recognizing the divine spark within oneself, that inherent connection to the universe, rather than seeking it externally.
Wow. So while Brahma is off, chaotically searching for at this vision of his father, across the cosmos, the Farids are saying, hey, the real treasure is already within you.
Exactly. They've tapped into this, understanding that true fulfillment, true enlightenment doesn't come from external validation or achieving some big grandiose goal. It comes from aligning with your true self, with that sat name that's always present, always available.
I love that. It's like the difference between searching for a treasure chest and then realizing that you've been wearing the treasure all along.
Such a good way to put it. And that's the irony, I think, of Brahma's story.
Yeah.
He has all of this cosmic power.
Right.
He's creating worlds, but he's completely missed this fundamental truth. about his own being.
Yeah, it really makes you think about what we prioritize in our own lives. Like, are we so busy chasing after external validation, the promotion, the perfect relationship, the Instagram likes, that we forget to nurture that inner spark?
It's a trap that's really easy to fall into.
Yeah.
Especially these days, right?
Yeah.
We live in a world that's constantly telling us that we need more. We need to achieve more to be happy. But Brahma's story, I think, reminds us that true happiness, true fulfillment, comes from this deeper understanding of ourselves, from connecting with that sat name that's always been there all along.
So it's about shifting our focus from seeking to remembering who we truly are, beyond the illusions of ego and desire.
Yeah, beautifully said. And that remembering is an ongoing practice. It's about creating space in our lives for stillness, for reflection, for connecting with that inner wisdom.
So I guess it's not about giving up on our goals or ambitions. It's about approaching them from a place of inner alignment, of knowing that our worth isn't dependent on these external achievements.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance between striving and acceptance.
Yeah.
Between pursuing our dreams and embracing the present moment as it is.
It sounds like Brahma's story is this really powerful reminder that sometimes the most profound journeys are the ones that lead us back to ourselves.
And those are journeys worth taking, no matter how many lifetimes it takes.
So for all of us listening who may not have Brahma's cosmic powers, but who are on our own unique quests for meaning and purpose, what's one thing that we can take away from Brahma's missteps?
Don't get so caught up in the search for external validation that you forget to nurture that divine spark. Within yourself, take the time to connect with your own sat name, that true essence of who you are. It might just change everything.
Wise words to end our deep dive on. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.